Drew, I'm using this thing for meditation and for training, and it's amazing. This flower of sunlight changed my life. Can you tell us how that? It's amazing.
Well, I worked with quantum physics since about 1993, I think it was, and we learned how to do a certain form of infusement. Now, quantum infusement has been hijacked by the world, and they call praying into things in all kinds of ways and stuff as quantum infusement. It's not really true. True quantum infusement is using electricity. And you have to use very high levels of electricity to do it, and you have to use Tesla coils, and you have to use all kinds of things that are true science. And the real key to it is the word waveform, which I think that we made up because that's where we started using it in the lab, and then it started going all around the world. But waveform is if you had a glass of water or anything, a glass of orange juice, and you took a waveform image of that thing, then it would be digitally you would digitally bring it into the computer, and if you could reproduce that waveform, then pop, another glass of orange juice or water or whatever it is would be sitting next to it, and it'd be identical, the same number of atoms and in the glass, same number of atoms in the orange juice, and if there's anything else in there, it'd be exactly the same. It would be precisely the same. Everything has a waveform. Everything is really just electromagnetic fields in one way or another. At least matter is. And so we're not doing any of the other kinds of things. This is pure science. And a friend of mine, Lee, he was the one that figured out how to do this. And when I saw how he did it, he brought me in and showed me exactly what he was doing. He was doing exactly the same thing we were doing 20 years earlier. Same kind of equipment, same everything, except that it was huge. It was like big thing in the room. We had it down to something about this big, and we were very precise. And this is what we were using to clean cities up, pollution. You could tune these things, do this thing, and poof, the city would go clear. And it's exactly the same science. We were using the waveform of a rain cloud right as rain was starting to come out and lightning was coming down. That's what the waveform we used to clean the air out of the pollution. But what we used in this was the sun itself. We took the waveform of the sun and put it into digital form, and then took that and going through all these things that they had, only he had really big ones, but it was the same thing. And then a very large amount of electricity. I mean, it's about a 4-inch long zap of electricity that would go over, and we would put it into this bottle, or in a secret way we did it, or we would put it into these things here, which are these are hematine, and these are the magnetic aspect of the human body, and this is the electrical aspect of the human body. And it's just it's an aid for a lot of things in human endeavors. One of them is meditation, and that's what attracted me. And in meditation, this thing is amazing.
It's like my thoughts are gone, you know. It's complete clarity, and I can really connect with my heart so fast.
Yes, it's really good. It is. And so anyone that's really serious about meditation, both of these things are very good tools. Once you really understand what's going on in here with these things, after a while you don't need them anymore, but they help you. Now, spirituality has been using tools for a long time. Look at the Tibetans with their dorjes, for example. And they hold the dorje to focus the electrical energy, because they're working with Berkeley currents also.
Yeah, up and down,
and they focus this using those things. They don't really need those things once they understand how to do it, but it's like a tradition. And a day will come when people won't need this either. But for right now, this is my gift to the world. I'm telling you, if you're into meditation, this is a huge, huge asset to be able to get through. Like trying to get into your heart, or trying to do for ATAH students, if you're trying to get into your heart and you can't, or you're trying to see the green light and you just don't know how to do it, this is going to make it easier than anything I know. And so I decided to do this. I usually don't sell things, but I have to get it out somehow. And if you try it, even just one time, you understand. We have a website. It's called flowerofsunlight.com. And
you have an incredible video there with the blood, how it changes. It's amazing.
Yeah, if you don't, you might put it on and feel nothing and say, well, I don't feel any change. But you don't know that your entire body inside has changed dramatically the moment it touches your skin, like in 1 second. And we can prove that to you if you were here, because we can muscle test you before, and you can just pull somebody right over by pulling down on their arm. But you put that on there, and I can get off the ground pulling you down.
It's like a stone.
Not even touching the ground. And you don't even have to put any energy out, because you're connected directly to the center of the earth and to the sun. And which is what everything we're trying to do, is to get you connected to the center of the earth and to the sun. And this does it instantaneously. So it's a teaching tool. I've been using it for about 5 years. The first 3 years, I had no idea what it was.
When we were flying, you took that bag, you put it up there, and you don't know, but Drumblo, when he's flying, he's bringing all these weights, he's doing all these fitness exercises in the hotels and all this. And he took that bag, he put it up, and I said, Drumblo, how did you do it? He said, I just put 1 drop of this oil, and I was like, wow.
It is really a good thing. But if you're into sports, or running, or anything,
it's a big
like
change.
this.
I can tell you that.
Yeah, he knows, because he's into martial arts. But you
run a marathon with this thing.
Right now we have a huge fitness center across the United States. They have 2,500 centers across the United States. Each one has about 60 physical trainers, and we're going through 3 of them right now. And these physical trainers, they come in and they just go crazy on me, because they get somebody that, is maybe 50 years old and getting a little chubby and trying to get back in shape. And it's hard for them to do that. 2 weeks, they're just barely able to do it. He says they let them go for a couple weeks, and then they put a drop of this oil on, and suddenly they can do all these push-ups and do all this running and everything else like that, and their muscles don't get sore and they don't get tired. And it's because your blood is absolutely dramatically changed. If you go into the Flower of Sunlight on the home page, you'll see a little window there with a little arrow in it, and you punch that, and you can look at the scientist using a dark field microscope to see your blood. And most people on Earth, because there's so much toxins and we're so tired, and the whole thing, their blood is stacked like little pancakes, and they're barely moving. And when you put this on, 1 second later, they turn into these perfect spheres, which are really toroidal fields, and you're getting oxygen like you've never had before. But the Russians also tested it through the bioweld systems that they have created, which is Kirlian photography, and they've tested them, and they find that all of your chakras also line up instantaneously.
Whoa.
They do ding, 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 and so it's not just that. All your meridians are getting energy. And another thing that they've discovered from the Russians is that most people who have their stacked blood like that, also their organs, which are supposed to be cooperating with each other, are actually resisting each other. Like you get toxins in the liver, and then they get transferred to the liver, and they transfer to the kidneys, and the kidneys go, wow, you're sending me this junk, and there's a tension between them. All the tension goes away, and they start functioning perfectly.
You can see that in the video. It's amazing. You can see inside of the blood how the information starts traveling from one cell to another. It's amazing,
Yeah, it's we're just learning. We're doing everything we can to learn what this does, but for definitely for it's kind of not fair in sports. I mean, because if you have this on there, you can't. It cannot be found in the body because it's not physical, and in fact, we've sent a runner through a professional runner that was trying. He was about 28 or. When he was about 28, he got his best time, and now he's about 30. And he was trying to beat his
Whoa.
time by 1 second. And right before he went in, Lee, my partner, put the oil on him. He wanted to do it before so that when they went in, they were going to test it. And they tested it, and they couldn't find anything. And then he took off running. And he won the race, but he won the race by 15 minutes.
My God.
And so he beat his time by way over, and he came in so far ahead of everything that it wasn't even natural, right? So they were like, they took him when he came in and they tested him and tested him and tested him and tested him.
And he was okay, right?
He had nothing illegal or anything in him but this was his one.